A very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Weekend Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evan Sokinyi, and I'm glad that you're here with us. I'm here with my resident guest, Wakili Willis Otieno, who is also the deputy party leader of Sabina party, and of course, potential third or the fourth deputy president.
The deputy president designate.
Okay, the deputy president designate. That is what he says here. Very eager to take over from his professor of law. I would like to see how that battle will actually pan out between you and your teacher when that time comes. I can see the legal profession is mourning yet again in the country. What are your sentiments on this thing?
No, it's quite unfortunate that at the beginning of the year, you now, within a span of less than 2 weeks, lost a minimum of 5 lawyers. And that has taken, it's a devastating news to the legal fraternity. And the lawyers whom we've lost are people who have offered stellar legal services to our republic. They've been mentors, some of them have been teachers. And they've contributed significantly to the development of jurisprudence in our nation.
Yes.
And to the space of good governance. So we do wish the families Godspeed and peace, and the departed colleagues to rest in peace, and to God be with their souls.
Okay. Okay, I want us to have this conversation here. Caleb Amisi, of course, you know him, is a member of parliament, and he says here that we cannot actually expect President William Ruto to deliver maybe on his manifesto and his mandate to the country, owing to the fact that half of those who are in government at this moment in time are people who actually opposed him during the elections, and at the same time the other half are yet to maybe reconcile with the reason as to why they were even appointed in the first place. That's what he says, according to him, the president says that he's steering the country in the right direction. At the same time, I want us to focus on the confusion that we're now witnessing in the education sector, especially higher education. You are aware of the court's ruling that nullified the new education funding model, and we are having students who are actually stranded. We've also seen the HALB and of course the higher education board go ahead and appeal that very ruling by Justice Chacha Mwita. I wonder what you make of all these kind of things right now. When things are not working, be it in health and education and the whole kind of economy, we are totally in shambles right now. But Amisi says, we can't blame the president as well, because the cabinet, as it is constituted right now, may not actually deliver.
But who constitutes the cabinet? It's the one. So how can you not blame the person who constitutes the cabinet? No one signed those warrants appointing the cabinet. It's him. And it's not a shared responsibility.
Okay.
It is sole responsibility. So it's a spectacular failure. You must accept it. And you're wasting time discussing William Ruto. There's nothing that will change. He's shown you his capacity. You know, this thing of being president is not a easy thing. And as Michelle Obama used to say, that power does not change people. Power actually just reveals who you truly are. So William Ruto as president has just revealed truly his incompetence. That is what he has always been. And if you go back to his history, even from being a member of parliament to date, what has he ever done that is stellar that you can point to? His tenure as Minister of Agriculture, his tenure as Minister of Education, Higher Education, his tenure as Deputy President. What has changed? He's the same person. Why did Kenyans expect a different result? Go back even to 92, YK 92. He's always been that. This position has just now exposed him for truly who he is. And you're not going to see any change, even if you gave the mandate, yes. It will be the same. It will be pain and more pain. Every day you're guaranteed of pain. And we are not criticizing, we're just looking at their policies.
Welcome to Herencia, the heartland of good living, where you belong. A community with endless possibilities. Your path to discovering a master plan gated community that matches your ambitions. Get yourself this must-have piece of paradise with state-of-the-art amenities, constant water supply, good security, tarmac roads, and much more. The best part, availability of buy and build financing services. Don't wait. Contact us today or visit our offices for more info. Buy and build your way at Herencia, the heartland of good living.
Tell me, what is it that is the anchor project? What is the vision through which this government is running? So when you are appointing a government, a cabinet, you are saying this is the vision that the cabinet is going to work towards achieving. Which is the vision? There is no vision. And that was exemplified on day one when he was appointed. When he took oath of office, he stood up and said, I'll give you fertilizer. He said, I'll appoint the judges today in the afternoon. Then he appointed them. He gave the fertilizer. Then those are activities. Those are not vision. So the activities were done. Then what else? So everybody looks at each other, they look at each other in the room. Oh, let's grab these Uhuru Kenyatta's affordable housing. Then you've grabbed them. Then what vision are you running the country on? He is visionless. And you're expecting too much of somebody who doesn't have a vision to address your challenges.
Governor Sakaja says that the only reason why Kenyans are heaping a lot of pressure on the president to deliver is because he is a performer. That is according to him.
But it takes two to tango. Even that Sakaja, what do you expect of him? Nairobi is looking like a large slum. Nairobi is deteriorating faster than even when Sonko was governor. And yet Sonko, even with all his challenges, was far much better than this one. And the country could not even take it. That's why NMS had to come. So what do you expect from Sakaja? To compare himself with Ruto. Those are two failures conjoined in the hip. Nothing different. Where is this city? Look what is working even in the city. Even the road to this place, there's no road. The gullies of roads that you find in Pipeline, that you find in Kilimani now, the unplanned developments all over. Kids in parts of Eastlands are suffering from rickets. Do you know why?
Tell me.
They are living in apartments or in flats, unplanned flats that have no access to, there's no sunlight that comes in. There are no playground on the ground floor for those kids to play. A baby is born and it stays there for almost even three years. Only steps out once in a week, or if at all. They can't even access sunlight, basic, in the city. Kids have rickets here in Eastlands, parts of Pipeline. In the city. And yet we have vitamin D here, sunlight coming for free. Why? Because somebody messed up planning in this city. Putting up structures everywhere, there is no space left for kids to play. And yet you want us to say that you're somebody who can tell someone who is performing. Of course they're performing in mediocrity, both of them.
Okay, those are your words, not mine, but let's now get here. The education sector, as I've told you, is in a mess. We are having problem with the higher education funding, and at this point in time, we do not actually know what to do. I want first of all to get your legal perspective on the ruling by Justice Chacha Mwita on the recent case involving the new funding model.
You know, of course, the funding model even to begin with was problematic. Because by the nature in which it is being implemented, it was discriminatory. And it's going to deny equal opportunity to so many kids who qualify or who deserve to get government support in funding. So it was well in order for the courts to overturn that new funding model. Because the crux of this new funding model was that the government was shucking away from its responsibility to co-sponsor students who are doing university education and to transfer the burden of paying school fees to the parent. Then they lie to you that they are coming up with a banding system, that those who are more in need will get it. But how many will qualify with that in that system? You'll find out about a population of 200,000 students, maybe only 500 students will qualify for the full scholarship you're talking about. Against a population of 250,000, and how many of our students cannot afford? So many. So William Ruto's administration was just trying to run away from its responsibility to co-fund university education that they've been doing before, that governments have been doing before, even before then they came. So they want to transfer that burden to the parent. But this parent will transfer the burden to how many of them can afford? There are many students who've gone through university and uses help that they get to support their education and even to support some of their family members back at home. What was wrong with the HELP model? That you have to come up with this new model.
It was talking of the other one not being cost effective, not being efficient, and therefore
It was working. We graduated through that model. Are we not better citizens? You end up delivering. I was with some students from the University of Nairobi. They were telling me that just reporting alone, the School of Economics, half the students who were admitted didn't report. Did not report for this academic year. Why? Because they could not afford to pay the school fees. So who are you targeting? That's why I say William Ruto is about activities, not about a vision. Because if you had a vision of an empowered population, education to all, as a vision, then you will know this intervention that I'm coming up with, this policy intervention that I'm coming up with called the university funding model, how many of my students will be able to access and how many have not been able to access education because of this intervention. But it says activities. Activities can never feed into a vision. You first create a vision, then you design activities that are feeding into the vision. But not ad hoc hodgepodge. Today it is university funding model, tomorrow is shift share, the next day it is motor vehicle circulation tax, it's all about shirking your responsibility as an administration to co-fund. What were your responsibilities? You are just now trying to transfer the burden of paying to the parents. And that is wrong. The Kenyan people are not going to accept that kind of a model. They've rejected it. But the reason why they're doing this is very simple, and I've told you and I keep saying. It's because of debt. 70% of their collections, revenue collections, goes to debt finance. Debt which is illegal, odious debt that they took without parliamentary approval, that they took without being applied to any particular project. All that the Kenyan people received was the obligation to pay for that debt. That is what is choking our country. That is what is killing this economy.
On the same issue of the funding of higher education at this point in time, we are witnessing a situation whereby HELB is saying they cannot release funds because the model itself has been declared illegal, null and void by the courts. And actually they've decided to go ahead and appeal. So the students are finding themselves at a situation whereby they cannot actually continue.
HELB should stop being stupid. I expect HELB to be led by people who are learned, and I know they are learned. So they should stop giving that kind of an argument. Because when this one is nullified, there was the previous one that was in existence. Continue with it. Nothing exists in a vacuum.
So how do they continue with the previous one?
The point is, we are not operating. We didn't come from mass. There was an existing model of funding students, correct? Go back and implement it.
Which is now non-functional.
No. Go and implement it. It was there. The court has simply said, this new model you are coming up with is what we've declared unconstitutional. So you just go back and reactivate the previous model as we are doing the litigation. What is hard in that?
So how do you, with the bans which have been introduced in the
No. That banding system, I'm telling you, Okinyi, let's take it slowly.
Okay.
That system in the banding was brought by the university funding model, the new one. Before the new one came into place, there was a funding model that was being used, correct? So this new one has been declared unconstitutional. So remove it. You revert to what was there before. Okay? Don't go back with your banding. Go and do the funding, because I'm telling you, we went to university. HELB was there supporting students at the time. That model that was used to educate those of my peers, use it. There's no vacuum, there's no lacuna. So HELB saying that we cannot fund, we cannot release funds because go and use that which was there before. Who stopped you from using it? It was there, it was working. We are products.
And what's a product of the previous one?
Yeah, so why are you saying that there will be nothing to be, they cannot do anything? They can do something. They go and just reactivate the systems and fund these students the way they were doing before.
Okay.
But they are trying to run away from the responsibility to pay. That's the underlying issue. It is not about the so-called poor student they are claiming they are supporting. They are not helping the student. They are simply trying to send back the responsibility to pay to the parent.
So are you not witnessing any kind of legal hurdle here? Because they're saying here that that kind of court someone now throws them into some sort of a confusion and they do not actually
What
know
is the confusion?
what to
Let
do
me
with
ask
it.
you. Last year, HELP disbursed money, correct? There was no new university funding model, correct? So what is the confusion? You've just been told don't apply this model. You go back to what you were doing before last year. Where is the confusion? There's no confusion. Simply go and reactivate. The files are there. In fact, if anything, that old system that you are using, you had used it for more than 25 years, almost 35 years. You had used it. You even have more experience in it. You know it better than this new model. Just activate it.
Okay.
Ignore this new one that we were still litigating over. There's no confusion. That's a very straightforward matter.
Legally
It's black and white.
Legally speaking, what would your expectations be on the government's appeal on Justice Cheche Amuita's ruling?
It is their right to appeal. That is their right. But as they're pursuing their right to appeal, can they make sure our kids don't miss school? Can they continue providing the support under the old model? That's all. And the courts will provide more clarity. And who has told you if you appeal, you must succeed? If the appeal is also dismissed, are you telling me they'll never fund students? Yeah. Or they must just fund through their new model? The appeal can be dismissed. Who has said they'll win the appeal?
Okay.
The appeal may be dismissed. The students are still there. The students still need education. They still need funding. So are you going to tell me you will not do it because the appeal has been dismissed? So, I mean, let's be prudent.
So that's a problem in the education sector. We are yet to get out of that particular mess. And again, as you are
In
aware,
education, even JSS, you saw what is happening to JSS classrooms. The junior grade 9. They had told us in November, the classrooms will be ready by December. December 14th came. There are no classrooms. So you have an entire generation here just being wasted. If not university education, you look at primary. What is going on here? And somebody once said that if you want to mess up a country, just target the education sector. And you are seeing Kenya Kwanza as primarily targeted the education sector as first instance. The second target is the health sector. That is why you see this shift-share nonsense. That is just causing confusion in the entire health sector.
And Wakili, talking about the health sector, does it have to take Kenyans to storm Afya House for the government to understand that there is a problem somewhere?
They are tone deaf. Because Kenyans have spoken about these issues. And when Kenyans speak about these issues, their response is to abduct them. It's now universally accepted in the country that shift shares failed to achieve quality healthcare to the people of Kenya. And Kenyans are now forced to meet the bulk of their healthcare needs. You have to fund your own money to pay for it. That is accepted. So the funding model they've come up with has failed. They will come to town telling you how we've enlisted 17 million people. Nobody is disputing your numbers, even if you enlist 40 million Kenyans. We have no problem with those numbers. Our issue is the quality of care. And if you are contributing to their healthcare services, we are saying you are not. Only a select few are getting the services and are being paid for. The rest have to open WhatsApp groups, have to solicit for funds from friends and relatives to meet their healthcare needs. And that is what we are saying, that system has failed. So where is the success? Nowhere. There's nothing to write about Kenya Kwanza that you can say is bringing joy to the hearts of the people of Kenya. Just bringing pain. That we are all clear. Our focus as a country now should be, what next?
Okay.
What is the next dispensation? How will it look? Because we want a leadership that is responsive to our needs. That's about the empowerment of the people. That's about the people's agenda.
And for you, certainly, that is not Kenya Kwanza.
Kenya Kwanza has failed on the people's agenda spectacularly. And it's time Kenya start paying attention to Sabina Party and what we talk about. Because we are about the economy. This is a liberation. This is a war of liberation. This is the economic liberation moment for the people of Kenya. This will be the last, the third and final liberation of this nation.
Finally, Wakili, you're telling me that even if the president wanted things to work, because definitely Kenyans would expect that he delivers, And you're saying that he finds himself in a very critical condition regarding, of course, with relevance to the debts that we have, the debt burden that the country is having. And therefore, he may not actually do, even if he wanted to do. He may not actually get the country out of all these mess that we're witnessing right now, even if he wanted to do. So what would be different when you actually get in? Because you are saying here that
we will not pay odious debt. We will not pay odious debt. The illegal debt, we will not pay. 1.9 trillion shillings that they are paying this year as debt. If we don't pay illegal debt, what does it mean? 1.9 trillion shillings more as a country. VAT alone contributes 300 billion. I'll give my people the first instant relief. Why should I increase VAT? In fact, I should reduce it. Because from the 1.9 that we've saved from paying odious debt, I'm going to say we don't need the 300 billion, maybe only the 100 billion. Reduce VAT or take it out all of completely. At least for that 1 year. With 1.9 trillion. If you were to say that I'm funding university education, because you have the money, that is the money that you are going to pay for debt. I'll pay everybody can study here free from primary to university. So, I will do what they cannot do. Debt that is legal will not pay. And the savings from that debt payment will plow it back to the people. And we are saying debt that is illegal. Odious debt we will not pay.
So you'll default on odious debt.
We will not default on odious debt. We will not pay it. Default means you've been unable to pay. Here we are able to pay, but we are not paying it. And we are saying, whoever gave money to people in the name of the people of Kenya, the money didn't come into our books. There was no parliamentary approval. There is no project it funded. We are not paying.
If I had your debt and I don't pay, even if I have the money, won't I?
It's not default. Default is inability to pay. Here we are able to pay. We have refused to pay because it was illegal. If somebody took a debt in your name, that Okinyi has said you give me a loan of 1,000. Okinyi never gave that approval for that loan to be taken. They claimed they were buying that money. They took that loan to go and buy for you medicine. They never bought you any medicine. Then the person who lent the money comes to you that, Okinyi, pay back your debt. Will you pay? You never sent the person to take the loan in the first place. It was never applied to your use. All you had about that debt is the obligation to pay. Will you pay?
Of course I won't pay.
If you don't pay, will you have defaulted? You won't have defaulted. That's not a default. That is refusing to pay because it's not a debt that is legal to you. It's an odious debt. And this is the campaign the Kenyan people needs to get to. Who has the courage not to pay that odious debt? Because you're going to upset so many people who are feeding off that trough. And you don't pay the odious debt, this appetite to increase our taxes every time will go down. And I assure Kenyans, even this year, wait for the finance bill. They are going to increase taxes and levies. That one is guaranteed. As sure as tomorrow follows today. As sure as the sun rises from the east and sets in the west, taxes are going to be increased this year as well. Wait for the finance bill.
I've seen the fuel prices have also begun to soar a little bit.
Everything will go up. That is standard.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it from Wakili Willis Otieno here on this particular episode of the Candy Talk. If at all you are watching us for the first time, kindly subscribe to our channel here and also follow us on various social media platforms. Allow me stop for now till we have this conversation again. Have yourself a lovely day, but do not fail to weigh in and tell us what you actually think. Will President Ruto be able to take us out of the crisis that we are witnessing right now in this country?